Bahamas employs over 500 people. Of the 500, how many of them do you think are Bahamian?
About three quarters.
Okay.
I will say 80%.
I would say all.
All?
I would say about 98%.
98%.
Yes.
I was going about 80%, so but 98 sounds better.
I'd say 80%.
I think about 95% of them are Bahamian.
Okay.
Yes.
What if I told you 99%?
99% of the people is Bahamian?
99%.
That's true?
Excellent.
Yeah? So Cable Bahamas is entirely for the Bahamian people.
That is correct. Cable Bahamas is widely represented by Bahamians.
Well, now you know.
Good evening, Bahamas. You're tuned into MB12 Weekend, broadcasting from Cable 12 Studios on Robinson Road. Coming up tonight, news. Concerns about the court battle between the Hotel Union and Baha Mar now that it's bankrupt. The Bahamas Union of Teachers says internal fighting will not affect members. Plus, a young PLP says times are changing for the party. I'm Paige McCartney. We've got those stories and more straight ahead on MB12 Weekends. Welcome once again to MB12. Government announced last night that it paid $2 million to the Bahamian employees at Baha Mar to cover their salaries as legal proceedings into the resort's bankruptcy continue. Attorney General Allison Maynard Gibson said on Thursday that government would commit to paying the $7.5 million payroll for Baha Mar employees this month. According to a statement from the government, the payments were made directly to employees' bank accounts and cover the pay period ending June 28th. The statement said the government is committed to ensuring the successful opening of Baha Mars. The project is of great national importance and to this end is taking the necessary steps to ensure all parties come to the negotiation table on equal footing, and the national interest of the Bahamas is front and center. On Monday, Baha Mar sent letters to its more than 2,400 employees advising them not to return to work, but promising they would be paid for up to 3 weeks. Well, it's uncertain how the filing of Chapter 11 bankruptcy will affect the outcome of an ongoing dispute between Baha Mar and the Bahamas Hotel Catering and Allied Workers Union over gratuities. That's what Union President Nicole Martin told MB12 earlier this week when she said the union is just hoping for the best. The matter, which began in court in April, is centered around Baha Mar executive's decision to remove the automatic 15% gratuity from the bills of its all-inclusive guests last year. The resort continues to hold the gratuities in escrow until an agreement on a new rate is reached.
We've been talking to our lawyers. I'm not certain about the effect on it, and I don't want to talk too much about that, even though we've been in discussions. We're praying for the best in all of this. We're praying for the best.
While some 2,000 Baha Mar workers were sent home this week, the company says the Melia will remain operational and Melia workers will not be affected, as principals involved in the matter have to figure out a solution to Baha Mar's woes. Martin, however, said she's still cautious about the fate of Melia workers.
But again, this is Bahama. They have told us things before. Everything that they told us they did not live up to, and so we are very concerned that it is a possibility that things are not going to play out as they've said, but we're certainly not going to add fuel to the fire. Wherever we need to talk, whatever we need to do, we're going to do it because we do want to preserve jobs and we want to help to keep the doors open, and we want to ensure that more people can come into work. Bahama needs to get the Bahamian Riviera up and running.
Martin said despite her reservations about Baha Mar, she's hopeful the resort opens because Bahamians need to work. She added that she hopes government changes how it conducts business with foreign investors, given the challenges it's now facing with Baha Mar.
I hope to God that everything that has happened with this Baha Mar scenario, set the tone for negotiations going forward for any foreign investor coming in, because it cannot be acceptable that you do business in the Bahamas, you report that you're going to file bankruptcy in the U.S., and then you come to the Bahamas for our courts to enforce the order of the Supreme Court in America. I hope that there is something that we can do to tighten the ropes and to close up any loopholes, because we only have one Bahamas.
In other news, despite the suspension of its president more than once over the past 6 months and obvious tensions that have resulted between Bahamas Union of Teachers executives, union officials insist the ongoing issues have not weakened the BUT. Jasmine Brown has details.
Union officials say despite the ups and downs over the past several months, the union is still strong and they're still getting the job done.
The union itself, as an operating body, the Secretary Generally is responsible for operating the day-to-day business of the office, and that is being done. There is no member that is left disenfranchised at any time. They still have a place to come. Operations now are more transparent and honest and open. And that is what the members are looking for.
Wilson was previously suspended last December. That suspension was eventually lifted after she successfully appealed. She was again suspended earlier this week during the union's annual general meeting. When asked if the union views the public back and forth as embarrassing, Grand Bahama Area Vice President Quinton Larota had this to say.
We don't even think it as an embarrassing situation. Here's what we were able to do. As the president said, we are 68 years old, right? We're an organization of 4,000 educated Bahamians and non-Bahamians. We have the talent and the wherewithal within our group to accomplish anything. It isn't a one-man band. It isn't about one person. And we feel blessed that there's so much talent in the organization that at any one time, a leader could step up and provide what we need during a time of struggle.
He says while the focus is often placed on leaders, the fact remains that unions are nothing without its members.
Unions are about its members, not about its leaders. And sometimes people forget that.
As the union continues to work on its leadership issues, Lightburn says the Executive Council continues its work.
Honestly, no one really likes conflict. And if you have an opportunity as intelligent persons to sit down and negotiate and talk and get the same goal accomplished as you would have tried to get without going to a fight, the collective bargaining agreement speak to that. We were able to accomplish signing a collective bargaining agreement.
Meantime, Lightburn says the matter has been turned over to police for investigation, and BUT officials have also ordered a forensic audit on their files. Wilson has since said she is receiving legal advice and plans on addressing the issue once the investigation is completed. Reporting for NB12, I'm Jasmine Brown.
Well, July ushered in a number of new tax breaks, but also the addition of value-added tax to services like health and property insurance and real estate transactions. And now you can add to that list the Paradise Island Bridge toll. The Bridge Authority announced yesterday that the toll for all vehicles will be restructured to include VAT. That means the fee for crossing the bridge will be $1.08 for single-axle vehicles, $2.15 for double-axle vehicles, and $3.23 for three-axle vehicles. According to the Bridge Authority, VAT will also be incorporated on the charge for transponders, smart cards, and all top-ups. It added that as of August 13th, lanes 1 and 2 will be converted to cash-only lanes, while lanes 3 and 4 will be strictly for transponder and smart card use. Well, the departure of Fort Charlotte MP Dr. Andre Rollins and Marco City MP Greg Moss from the PLP only reinforces the notion that the party has no room for independent thinkers. This according to former PLP chairman Reynard Rigby, who said Moss and Rollins' presence was needed in the party to not only force the PLP to be mature, but also force its leadership to understand leader worship is a thing of the past. Dana Smith reports.
For me, the departure of Greg Moss and Dr. Rollins is reflective of a perception that there has not been sufficient space created in the PLP for independent thinking. And I think that's a sad reality of our politics. We are the oldest dominant political force in the country, and we should have the maturity And we should demonstrate that maturity by ensuring that there's sufficient space for those independent thinkers.
Moss resigned from the PLP citing poor leadership, while Rollins quit after the party's leaders attempted to bar him from contributing to the budget debate. Both men had harshly criticized government on several occasions in the past. But Rigby said one of the reasons people like Moss and Rollins are needed in the PLP is to show that the days of leader worship are over.
And that's why you need a Greg Moss and a Dr. Andre Rollins in the PLP, because it creates space, it forces the party to be mature, and it forces the leadership to understand that this view of leader worship is a thing of the past, that is not a part of our modern politics. And people of my generation ain't into it.
Rigby said it's debatable whether the country is still in an era where party members cannot publicly disagree with their leaders, but he noted the PLP has to do a better job in tolerating independent points of view.
It certainly saddened me to see two capable, competent men leave the party in the way in which they did and under the circumstances in which they did. And I've said this for years, I think the party has to do a better job in creating space for young people and for independent thinking and for strong views.
Rigby added he believes the departure of Moss and Rollins has had a negative impact on how the party is viewed by the public, but just how big an impact it is won't be seen until Election Day. Reporting for NB12, I'm Dana Smith.